For as long as someone has tried to sell products, advertising has existed. From basic worded advertisements of the 1800s to the glam techniques used today making advertising into an art form. The first instance of advertising that we are more familiar with occurred during the 18th century and developed an entire industry, including the introduction of agencies and billboards. With the introduction of new inventions such as radio and television, the advertising changed to take advantage of these new forms of communication and media. The impact of photography was extremely developmental in selling products, as it was more cost effective and successful than the prior illustrative work used to advertise. After the war, the use of propaganda made pioneers such as Edward Bernays realize the psychological aspects of advertising and motive changed from selling needs to selling desires by playing upon people's emotional fulfillment. This changed with the Wall Street crash though, when people could no longer afford their desires when they could barely afford their needs. Since the 1920s onwards, these concepts were still used and are still today, although because of the large capital brought in by the power of advertising and marketing, the budgets are much larger along with the campaigns, including celebrity endorsement and marketing events, with branding becoming paramount to a successful campaign.
I think the first piece that stood out to me was a campaign that Nike did in Hyde Park around marathon season, and it was when all the marathon trainers were training for their marathon, and Nike took out all of the benches from around London. They kept the bench, but they would remove the seat. So when any runner would try and sit down, there'd just be a Nike tick with the words "Just do it," and it was a kind of really cool advertising campaign that was, I call it more of a PR stunt, but I think the two work hand in hand. I think social media is now king of advertising. I think the way it's changed is you don't even realise you're really being advertised to anymore. I think before, with the whole kind of direct marketing, billboards, it was a lot more obvious, but now a consumer could be kind of reading an advert without even knowing it, with sponsored post content, Google AdWords, PPC. You don't even really realise that you're reading ads now. Same with influencer marketing. You get so many vloggers and influencers on Instagram who are constantly advertising brands to you without you really realising it. We look so much at people's behaviours, and that affects the way we advertise to someone. So if we know that we're looking after a kind of menopause product and we want to look at women who are going through the menopause, we know that they're shy about it, so we will do subtle advertising towards them that is hidden and they can be discreet about it. But if we were, advertising a millennial pink top that we know everyone's into at the moment, you'd shout louder about it. I think we definitely use those insights, but I definitely think society changes because of the way we advertise as well. I think they both come hand in hand. It's like a kind of circle. You use insights from them to choose what advert you use, but your advert then affects them in a different way. I'm a big Mad Men fan, and I always used to watch Mad Men and watch how the advertising industry kind of developed back then. I know it's fictional, but it's staying true to what advertising firms were like, and I definitely think the psychological impact has always been there. I just think it's more subtle now. What we're finding with a lot of our clients at Noble is that one piece of media isn't enough for a consumer anymore. So if you're going to advertise a static image to someone, that's fine. They may see that static image and then get a bit bored and think, I might buy it. Then they need to see a piece of filmed content. Then they need to see something a little bit more interactive. Then they may need to see a billboard. We need to start retargeting the same consumers. And I think that's how it's kind of changed. A lot of people are using that technique a lot more now. They're retargeting people that may have already shown interest in their brand but haven't yet completed a purchase. I think the future of advertising is not even just digital on our phones, but basically in Japan now they no longer have ads up in the sky because no one's looking up, everyone's looking down. So they're trialling pavement adverts. So they're literally having rolling digital pavement adverts that people are looking down, so that when they're looking down and they're walking, they're looking at that. I think the future of advertising is going to be digital completely, but also just based all around technology and based all around the fact that we no longer are looking up and looking around, which is really sad, but it's true.
As we can see, advertising to the general public has had a massive impact on the way our society works today.
This will continue to develop in the future years.